guys, I saw the Hunger Games movie, and before I start, I just want to say that I will talk about spoilers at a certain part, so if you don't want to know any specific spoilers right now, then you're good until I let you know. I read the book before I saw the movie, so I knew what was going on, but I was trying to think if I didn't read the book, would I have any idea what was going on? And you would. Like, if you are watching this and you haven't read the book and you're like, well, everyone's talking about it, should I just see it or is it going to be dumb? Then you'll be fine. Like, it's definitely easy to follow, and it's very entertaining, it's very good, and it's definitely worth watching, so buy a ticket to see it because it's very good. If you're into, like, fight movies, fight scenes, also with, like, a love story in it, and also futuristic type movies, then you'll definitely like this movie. I hate, like, violence and gore, and I was completely fine. Like, I read the book, and in the book there's a lot of gore and a lot of violence, and, I mean, the gore in the movie was so not as bad as I thought it was going to be, so you're fine there as well. I really recommend that everyone see it. I can't imagine someone coming out of the theater disappointed or wanting their money back, so yeah, I really recommend it. So now I'm going to talk about spoilers, so if you don't want to know what happens, then you could stop watching now, but don't forget to come back after you watch the movie and watch the rest of this video. Okay, I took a lot of notes, and I'm glad that I did because I like having specific things to say about it. So I'm just going to go through my notes. People who usually watch me, you'll know the drill. I just go through my notes, discuss it, and a little bit of, like, background. I did read the book. I have not read the other two books. I think there's two. Yeah, I only read the first one, and I made a review of the first book on my YouTube channel, so I'll put a link to that in the description. Okay, when Effie calls Prim's name, that whole scene where they chose the two tributes was great, but especially where she calls Prim's name, because it was so quiet, and I love that they did that, because they could have really messed it up. But they made it, like, very quiet. You could hear a pin drop, and the camera angles and the shots, like, they were all over the place. It was, like, it was really great. It was so cool. I love the way they did it. It really made me feel like I was there, and it made me feel like I was afraid to get my name called, you know what I mean? So that was fantastic, and they really nailed that whole scene. Makeup and costumes were great in this movie. Amazing. Effie always looked awesome. I mean, it was incredible. Whoever came up with that did a fantastic job. Everyone in the Capitol looked really weird. It was almost like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Like, everyone looked really weird. It was all very bizarre, but it was done really well and very detailed and very eye-catching and interesting. One thing that I love that I made sure I took a note of is, oh, and by the way, when I say I took notes, someone commented this once and I thought it was so funny. When I take notes in a movie, I don't have, like, a notebook and a pencil. I just text myself, and that's it. And then I just read it when I get home. I'm not, like, writing, you know, anything. So yeah, I just text to myself. But I texted to myself about the little kid, when Peeta and Katniss get to the Capitol for the Hunger Games, they show a kid, a little boy and a little girl, and the parents, and the dad gives the son a play sword, and the kid is going around with the sister, and he's pretending to kill her with the sword, and I think Peeta's the one that is looking at it, and it was so, like, I love that they put that in. That's such a great, symbolic, you know, weird thing for Peeta to see. These kids are playing around like it's a game, and to him, he's actually gonna die, so it was, like, a very good artistic choice. I love that. Another thing that I thought was really interesting and worth writing down was what President Snow said to Seneca. And he says to him, a little hope is effective, a lot of hope is dangerous. And it kind of has nothing to do with the actual movie or the book, but just that line. I was thinking about that earlier in the week, that the idea of hope can really bring about a lot of problems and is actually very dangerous. So I think it's really interesting how they said a little hope is effective, a lot of hope is dangerous, and I think that's very true, and I really liked that they put that in. I don't really know what it has to do with, like, specifically anything, but just the idea was interesting to me. Another thing that I thought was really interesting was when Stanley Tucci as Caesar was talking to Katniss about, in the beginning interview, you know, when she has to make people laugh and everything, and he starts talking to her about Prim, and he's like, oh, yes, let's talk about Prim. It was very, you know, nice of you to volunteer and all this stuff. And she's sitting there answering. It was just really interesting to see, like, he's part of the Capitol. he is responsible, especially being such a big part of the Hunger Games, he is responsible for Katniss being there. So the fact that he's talking to her about like the terror that she's going through, the horrible things that she has to go through, all because of what they want her to do. You know, like Prim, Katniss, like Katniss has to be worried about Prim. Prim was chosen, Katniss took her place because of the Hunger Games. It's an awful thing. So he's like a part of it all. So to hear him be like, so how is it, you know, dealing with the Hunger Games? Like, it's your fault. So this isn't a complaint about the movie. It's just like an interesting thing that I thought about when I was watching it. Because, you know, I do see this in the news and stuff, you know, in our own society. You'll see someone who goes through something really horrible, and then you'll see sort of someone on TV go like, oh, no, tell me how horrible it was so we can exploit you and I can get ratings out of this. And so it's very interesting how that was a parallel to that. I don't know if it was supposed to be, it probably wasn't, but that's just how I took it. The next thing is when Katniss and all the other tributes come up out of the ground, and they're standing there, and the Hunger Games are beginning. And it's that whole, like, montage of everyone running to the supplies, killing each other left and right, like, you know, 12 or 13 of them were dead, you know, just by that alone. So when Katniss, that whole, like, I don't know what to call it, like, that whole montage, I guess, of everything that happened when Katniss got her supply bag, her first supply bag, with the, you know, the sleeping bag and everything, it was so good. Like, it was so well done. The editing, everything about it, I was like, this is really fantastic. So I thought that was great. The timing, the, you know, the editing, everything like that was really great. And I'll actually get back to that later because there are other parts where I thought it was fantastic as well. Another thing that I thought was really great was the fire scene with Katniss when she's getting attacked by the fire and she has to run and everything. And it was really interesting to see, you know, how they showed Katniss. They kind of bounced back and forth between the arena and the Capitol. And it was really interesting to see Katniss being in this world of complete chaos, like trying to save her life. Fire is being thrown at her, literally. And then it sort of cuts to, you know, the quiet little office type room where they're sort of just pushing the buttons to make more fire come. And it was such a bizarre, like, change of atmosphere. So it was cool to see that. Really bizarre too, but really cool. The Tracker Jacker part. I loved this part. I was a little bit worried about this part because in the book it's really gory and gross. But thankfully it wasn't as gross as I imagined in the book. So this whole part where her, you know, she was hallucinating and she was sort of, you know, losing it was so well done. I mean, it was really well done. And you really, like, if you're about to pass out or you just feel, you know, in real life like you're, I don't know, you feel sick or something, it's exactly how you feel. So it was really, really well done. Just like, I mean, I don't know if you, when you were watching it, were sort of noticing the ways that you can portray feelings and stuff through film, but just everything about it, the swaying of the camera, you know, it was just all, I can't really describe how I'm seeing it, but you watched it. It was all very well done, and it got the point across of how she was feeling very well. The actress who plays Rue was so adorable. I mean, she was so cute. She was so good at Rue. She was perfect casting for Rue. Yeah, I really liked her. She was really great. Another thing that I didn't really understand was after Katniss explodes the food and everything, you know, she's supposed to be deaf in one of her ears, and like I think in the book she was like bleeding out of her ear, and like it was really gross. And she was definitely deaf for quite a while after that. And when that first happened, the explosion, you heard that weird like ringing, that muted noise and the ringing. And I thought, oh wow, this is awesome. They're making it, you know, they're making us hear what she hears because she's deaf in one ear. And then they sort of just got rid of that, which is fine. You know, it's not a very important part of the story. But, I don't know, it was just something that I was like, oh, I guess we're not going to go there. Okay, now I'm going to talk about Rue's death. Like I said, Rue was so cute. The actress who played her, she played her really well. But, again, like in my review of the book, I didn't feel anything, really. I mean, neither did anyone else in the theater. I was in a pretty full theater, and I didn't hear one sniffle from anyone. I just don't think that Rue's death was ever as impactful as they want it to be, like in the book and in the film. I thought in the film it would be much more sad, but it was pretty much the same as in the book, and I felt detached from it because of, like I said in my review of the book, it was predictable, and it was rushed, and they sort of made us, in the book and in the movie as well, they sort of forced our feelings on us, how they want us to feel, and they're trying to build it up to be like the most sad thing ever, you know, and it just didn't hit me that way. And I'm like a crybaby, I cry at anything, but it was just artificial, and it was forced and a little bit fake. So the thing with the flowers was really nicely done, but Rue, the character, dying didn't hit me, and a lot of people, the way that both the author and the people who made the movie would want it to. For me, that was just my experience. This is just another random thing, but the District 11 riots after Rue dies are not in the book. I mean, I don't really remember them being in the book. I could be wrong, but comment below if they actually were. Like, I assume it was her dad in District 11, and they all sort of had a riot. That could be foreshadowing other stuff in the books that I just haven't read. Again, I haven't read the second and third book, but I just don't remember that being in the book. I could be wrong, though. Also, they did a lot more with Gail in the movie than they did in the book, because when I was reading the book, I kind of forgot about Gail, except for when Katniss was like, I wonder what Gail thinks of this. But in the movie, they definitely showed Gail, you know, watching Peeta and Katniss, which was really interesting, and I really liked it. Again, the book didn't get that right the way that the movie got that part right. But in the movie, they showed Gail sometimes, and it was always like in the back of your mind, whenever you saw Katniss and Peeta, you were kind of thinking, is Gail watching this? Like, I hope he's not. I feel bad for him. I'm rooting for him. So that was good. There were some parts where the camera shots and everything were too much. It moved around at parts so much, you know, like it was just all over the place. I couldn't even tell what was going on. One part was when Katniss is getting attacked. I just, like, I couldn't even, like, I was watching the movie, I was trying to figure out where Katniss was and, like, what was going on, and the camera was moving around so violently that I couldn't keep up, like, I couldn't see anything. So that happened quite a few times in this movie, a little bit too much camera craziness. I just couldn't see anything, so I don't know. And every time it would move around like crazy. This happened at the end too, between the fight with Katniss, Peeta, and Cato, but there was a part where they were all fighting, and then it finally got like a wide shot of everyone, and I was like able to breathe again, because I was like, I can see, and they're not all blended together. I really liked how they introduced the, like, big dogs. I don't remember if there's a word for them, but I'm just going to call them the big dogs. When they first introduced, like, the prototype of the dog, it was really cool. I was like, oh, this is a really interesting way to introduce it and show that they're sort of just creating everything in the Hunger Games and creating the dog and being like, oh, wow, this will get really interesting. Let's put the dogs out. So that was cool. The fight scene between Cato, Katniss, and Peeta was awesome. It was so well done. I mean, I don't know, I guess some fight scenes that I watch are kind of drawn out, they're kind of dumb. I never really feel anything at stake when I'm watching some fight scenes, but this one I really felt like there was a lot at stake. However they did it, I guess it was editing and acting as well, and music, made it feel like everything was at stake, and, you know, you so desperately didn't want Katniss or Peeta to get hit or, you know, killed, and Cato was crazy. Like, he was really good at being a tribute, which he trained for. So, also, Cato was really hot. I'm just saying. So that fight scene was awesome. I really liked it. And another thing that was kind of funny was, I guess, like, a lot of the people that were in the theater when I saw the movie didn't read the book. So when they made the second rule change, not the first one where they were like, oh, you know, 2 tributes are going to win, and only if they're from the same district, so go. It wasn't that rule. It was the second one where after Cato is killed, and it's just Peeta and Katniss, and they're like, woohoo, we won! And then they're like, JK, you have to, like, kill each other, someone has to die. There's only going to be 1 tribute. So, I guess, like, yeah, the people I saw the movie with didn't read the book, because they were like, oh, no, oh, my God. Like, I was like, guys, how do you not know that this is going to happen? The berry ending, where, you know, they are both going to eat the toxic berries, still anticlimactic. In the book, it was so anticlimactic. It seemed like just a easy way out. And also in the movie, I thought, oh, maybe it'll be better because, you know, you could see the actors and everything like that. It was still, like, so anticlimactic. I mean, I feel like everyone must, after they watch that part, must be like, oh, really? Like, that was lucky that they just, you know, didn't let them kill themselves. So, yeah, I mean, I still don't like that whole idea of the berries. I think there could have been a more interesting way to do that. I don't know. But whatever. Another thing that I just didn't understand was after they get done with the Hunger Games and Peeta and Katniss are doing the interview with Caesar again, and she's wearing the yellow dress, which the yellow dress did not look how I expected it to. I don't know. Comment below if you guys thought that the yellow dress looked how you read it in the book. I just pictured it a lot different. But anyway, that's kind of irrelevant. When Katniss and Peeta are sitting there together, in the book she's like, you know, like leaning on his shoulder and stuff, and they're like cuddling on the couch, and they made note of that in the book, like, and there was reasons behind it to make them, you know, seem more in love and everything. But in the movie, Katniss and Peeta are sitting so far away from each other. I think they're holding hands, but from like 500 miles away. They're sitting so far away from each other, and they're so like timid, like, or rigid actually, and they're just so, they're not even, it's as if they're sitting in two different chairs. So that was really odd, and I don't understand why they didn't just have that the same as in the book. It doesn't cost any extra money to move them closer together and have them, like, I don't know. It just didn't really make sense to me. Comment below if you thought the same thing, because that's, like, in the book, and I liked that part in the book, and they just didn't do it. I thought the ending was very rushed from when, you know, the Hunger Games ended to when the movie was over. It was just, like, everything happened very quickly, and that's, you know, I know that when you make a movie out of a book, you have to sort of make room for everything, and it's not as perfect as you would want it to be because it can only be so long. But yeah, I just thought I'd say that it was pretty rushed. Now about the actors. Jennifer Lawrence was fantastic. She was spot on, perfect with her acting, pretty much throughout the whole thing. She did a fantastic job. Josh Hutcherson, if you follow me for a while on YouTube or anything like that, you know I've had a crush on Josh Hutcherson for a very long time, and I still do. Oof, he is fine. But, however good looking he may be, his acting was just not as good as I was hoping it would be, because he seemed very insincere throughout the whole thing. Like, there's a part in the books where you realize he is being sincere, and he really does love her, and I never really got that. And I feel like if I didn't read the books, I would always be suspicious about Peeta throughout the whole movie, because he just didn't seem very sincere. He had his acting face on for when he was, you know, supposed to be in the Hunger Games to make, you know, to get sponsors. Even when he wasn't supposed to be, I felt like he still had that, you know, insincere, fake, you know, actor face on. I don't know. So, I mean, I really wish that he could have brought out more sincerity when he was being sincere. It just didn't happen, though. He was good. He wasn't bad, though. Kato was really great. Kato was really hot, too. Did I mention that? Gail was really great. He's really hot, too. What's with all the hot actors? I really enjoyed that. Prim, the actress who played Prim, was fantastic. She made me feel so bad for her. She could convey everything that she had to convey perfectly, so that was great. Stanley Tucci was amazing. Okay, I have to say that probably the best actor in the whole movie was Stanley Tucci, because he played the character Caesar from the book flawlessly. There was not even one part where I was like, well, this doesn't really seem like, you know, it's not really how I pictured him, but his whole, everything about him was so perfect. So he's phenomenal. Stanley Tucci's amazing. So he was perfect for this movie. Whoever cast him in this movie, good job. You did a really good job because he was perfect. Lenny Kravitz did a fantastic job as Cinna. He brought the warmness to that character, and just the, you know, he was so genuine, and I really thought that he did a good job. So that's my review of The Hunger Games. I hope you guys liked it. I really liked the movie. I thought they took in everything that was important in the books. There were, like, some differences, of course, but I think that everything that they put in the movie was, you know, worth putting in the movie, and I think that they left the right stuff out. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. Comment below on what you thought of the movie, and on everything that I brought up. If you have any opinions on that, feel free to comment below. Again, my review of the book is in the description below, and some people had a very hard time listening to my review. I don't know why, because I said over and over I liked the book, but I liked the book. I liked the movie, and I liked the book. So comment below, and thank you for watching.